So matrimonial property. So we're switching gears. And some people say if you like math, you'll like matrimonial property. Maybe. And you'll certainly like it more if you like math than if you don't like math. So as I said a little while ago in response to a question about, well, how do you deal with property matters if the Divorce Act doesn't deal with them? The answer is that we deal with them under the provisions of the Family Law Act. And it's currently the Family Law Act 1990, but it was introduced in 1986. So what we have is the property division regime is one where we don't seek to divvy up the assets themselves, right? We respect parties' title, and rather what we come up with is an amount owing in light of the value of the properties in which each party has title, okay? So you're not going to see a judge saying, okay, party A, you know, you get the cars, and party B, you get the boat. What we're going to be going through is a tallying exercise where what we calculate what we call each party's net family property, and it's really their net family property value. And we get a numeric result for that. And we compare that to the other party's net family property value. And we basically do a calculation that says lower net family property value is deducted from the higher value, and then we divide by half that balance in order to equalize properties. That will make a little more sense as we go through the materials. So what we're looking at doing is trying to figure out how to share what was the value of the property that was accumulated between the date of marriage and the date of separation. Okay? So we're trying to say, how do we share the value of what was acquired as kind of this joint initiative of the parties? So in order to find that end date, the valuation date, which typically we're looking at as the date of separation. There are some other dates that can count as valuation date, but we're largely looking at it as the date of separation. Now, that's not always an uncontroversial matter. Sometimes parties will disagree on the date of separation. Basically, what we need is a physical change in the relationship. So either their parties are no longer living in the same space, or they're living under the same roof, but they're living separately. So no longer sort of behaving in a way where they, you know, do things together, have a sexual relationship, engage in social activities together, where they've sort of they're sharing a space but not sharing their lives, and an intention to do that. So you just need one party to intend to separate. It's not the case that one party can say, well, listen, yeah, I know the other person said they intended to separate, but I didn't really realize it was over for about 6 months after they told me that. It is, when has that physical change happened, and where has one of the parties indicated very clearly their intention to separate? You know, are they still trying to reconcile? Are they going to marriage counseling? I mean, if that's the case, that's not an indication of a clear intent to separate. So here's kind of a pictorial illustration of how we're going through this calculation process. So what we're trying to figure out so we're going to do a calculation of the party's net worth at the date of marriage. Because if they still have that at the date of separation, we're going to back some of that out. So parties are going to need to share their net worth as of the date of marriage, with one marked exception, which we'll talk about, and that's the matrimonial home. But generally speaking, you need to know that net worth as of the date of marriage, because that's part of what parties are not expected to share, again, with that exception of the matrimonial home. And then we're also going to look at the party's net worth at the date of separation. So this is how we come up with each party's net family property. So to give you an example, an easy one, let's say spouse one on the date of marriage had a net worth of $100,000. Well, their assets, I should say, had a net worth of $100,000. As of the date of separation, it's $2,000. So their net family property, the amount they need to share, is $100,000. So the 200 minus their date of marriage net worth. Spouse two comes into the marriage with zero. So no assets, no debt, they're at zero. Or their assets and debts accumulate to give them a net worth of zero. At the date of separation, they've got $500,000. Okay. So their net family property, 500 minus 0 is 500. What we then do to equalize, to figure out who owes what to whom, is, as I said, we deduct the smaller net family property value, 100,000, from the larger, the 500,000. Math tells us that would give us a difference of 400,000. Absent any extraordinary circumstances that would suggest an unequal division, we divide that difference by 2. So 500 minus 100 is 400, divide it by 2, and that's the amount that the spouse with the higher net family property amount would be required to pay the spouse with the lower net family property value.